Hi there, and welcome back to the Norton restoration project. If you remember from the last vlog, got the engine stripped down to the conrods, but I have got to get the outer race of the left hand main bearing out, which is going to be a bit difficult, and also the two cam bushes which are recessed, so you can't knock them out from the other side. We took the other cam bushes out from the timing side, which are easy to do because the cam goes through those casings. I'll show you the actual casing in a minute. We'll try this with a Dremel and see whether I can actually get these out. The cam bushes I've got to try and save because I can't buy them anywhere. Normal motorcycles don't stock them, and I spoke to Andy from Norton Owners Club, who actually supply spares, and they've asked Andy asked me to give them a bit of a plug as well, which I'll put their email address up for the spares on this video. But no one seems to be able to get these cam bushes. I can't find any on the web, on eBay or anywhere. So I have a friend who's an engineer who's most probably going to make these cam bushes for me. They're like a bronze alloy. I've got to try and get these out, but without damaging them too much, so that Andy can actually, this engineer friend of mine who's also called Andy, so he can actually look at the bushes and be able to measure them and fabricate them for me. The two that are off the timing side, which I can show you here, they are slightly different because they have this shoulder with a recess. I don't know if you can see the recess there. Which sits in a particular place in the casing so that the oil runs out, gives access for the oil to go in and out there. I think that's how they work, but the cam goes straight through those, but there's a lot of play on the cams themselves. I know this is the other side, but when you actually go in, there's so much play in them. This bush actually sits at that end. That's the timing cog, so that normally sits that way around on there like that, but both cams are the same size, and there's too much play on those anyway, so they're going to need sorting out. So I'll get the Dremel set up, and I've never tried to get a bearing out this way before, but I think this is most probably going to be the easiest way to do it. So I'm learning as much as you are. So let's take it from there. I will say for this that I am wearing, you won't be able to see it because the camera's going to be on the casing, but I am wearing some goggles for this because I'm using a little cutting disc which could break and damage your eyes, so please make sure you wear some form of protection and gloves too. So the idea of this, I've always had a little bit more room to actually get access to tapping them out from the other side. This is a bit more awkward, this one. So the idea is basically to use a little cutting disc and two ways: either cut into the outer race to give you some grooves that you can actually get a chisel onto, so that you can actually hit the, get the chisel into those grooves, tap them from the other side and get the outer race out. So that's one reason why I was doing it. The other reason was, or the other way I was going to try, was to use the cutting disc to actually go through the outer race completely, just to basically take a little bit of the pressure off the sides of the cast casing, and sometimes, as long as you're very, very careful and you don't sort of go into the casing itself, that's worked for me before in the past, but this, you know, there wasn't really a lot of room in here. So as you can see, I'm just cutting down. It's stainless steel, these outer race, well, the bearings are stainless steel, so the outer race is quite hard. A lot of sparks, as I said. You just got to, I know I've got the crank behind there, but the big end bearings are covered up. That hasn't been cleaned yet either, so then I had to go try to get them out. That didn't work. So then the next idea, which I've never done before but I'd seen it on a couple of videos, was to actually run a weld all the way around the outer race bearing on the inside. The weld would then contract and pull the bearing in a bit, drop a bit of cold water on it, and that would work. That didn't work either. So then the final way, and as you can see, is welding screen, gloves and etc. Has to be worn doing this, or you'll end up damaging your eyes. Sorry if it's a little bit blurry, but I had it in the quite close. The camera was quite a way away, but zoomed in quite close to basically take some of the glare off the from the welding. So apologies if it's a little bit blurry. It's not your eyes. So yeah, going back to, so the third way was to put a bolt into the outer race bearing, weld it to the outer race bearing, and then basically hit the bolt and tap it so that it basically the bearing would come out then. Weld this bolt onto here. I think maybe it's a bit difficult with, would have been better off with a stick welder really, because this is only a little gasless bit, but just to try and weld it onto the frame, onto the outer race of that. Hopefully let it cool down a little bit and warm the outside up and hit it down through the middle. That's the plan. So that was the plan, and I tried this 2 or 3 times, as I explained in the video there, that I only had a little gasless MIG, and really an arc welder needed to be done with this, and with some bit more substantial rods, basically to get the weld into the stainless steel bearing. I wasn't just going to go and I used to have an arc welder. I haven't got it anymore. I don't really need one. So that was the first go. Tried it again. I think this is the 3rd time doing this. You just need to be, if you are doing it like that, you just need to be careful that you don't sort of touch the cast casings. So this time it gone in a bit, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it's going to work. I thought maybe it had moved a little bit. I don't see it on the video, but I did heat up the outer casing and let the centre cool down, because it would have just got a bit too tight. Seems to be possibly going to work. I'm only showing you all this because I could have left all this out and say, look, I did it first go, but there you go, the bolt's just broken again. So that was that. So then the last idea, which really I should have thought about in the first place, because I'd run all the welds around the outer race, originally trying to sort of like contract the outer race of the bearing. I noticed there was quite a lot of welds that were pretty good on there, and I thought, well, okay, let's try and get a purchase on these welds which are sticking out a lot more, and try and knock it out with those. And it started moving. This was the last resort. This was like an hour later, but it started.
It's coming out.
It's
coming out.
Oh. I'm shouting away there. It's coming out. It's coming out. Really, it would have been better with two people doing this, because one holding the casing, or if you had a big enough sort of wooden vise or something to where you could put the clamp in. But as you can see, I was getting excited now. It was like, it's nearly there, it's nearly there. A few little taps. And
so I had to be really careful. It took a few goes. That I've basically what I've ended up doing. The bolts we're holding, arc welder would have been better to do this, because the MIG just won't get in. This is only a little MIG I've got here. It's only for doing tin plate stuff and whatever. It's come out, but I haven't actually damaged anything. It'll need a bit of a clean up and a little bit of fettling, but it's not actually damaged. The case isn't cracked.
so then we're going to look at getting the bushes out, these two cam bushes. Then it came up to New Year, or lockdown and so on and so forth, and I needed to get an internal bearing puller, so I'll pass it over to the second introduction.
Hi there, and welcome to the last bit of the strip down of the Norton engine. An internal bearing puller I ordered from off the web to get the cam bushes out. I'm actually filming this from my utility room at home. Although we're in lockdown again now, which started on Tuesday. It's a Happy New Year, by the way. Unfortunately, John got a track and trace message through the other day saying he'd been close to someone with the virus, so we're both in self-isolation until Saturday. I've got the case in here, and I've got the internal bearing puller delivered to the house, so that I could do it here and get this video finished for you.
Indeed. So there we are. This is the left-hand casing, the drive side casing. These are the two cam bushes, which we've explained before, but I'll go through it again. the two cam bushes that the cam sits in. It has a little plunger and a spring that pushes onto two steel plates at the back in there. It's a bit difficult to see, but there's two steel plates there. The original Navigator casings didn't have the steel plate, and apparently the cams used to move about a lot, so they put these steel plates in with the, or steel disc really I should say, and with the plunger and the spring, which you'll see when we put it back together. You can tell whether the steel disc is there because that's magnetic and the casing isn't. Simple as that. And there's a little gap between the steel disc and the bushes where you can actually get an internal bearing puller in. So the first thing to do with this is to put the casing in an oven to warm up the casing and the I think the phosphorus bronze bush. Put it in the oven for around about an hour, 90 minutes, get it warm, and then I took it back out, let it cool down a little bit, because the bush will contract a little bit quicker than the casing will. Then put the internal bearing puller in, which I'll show you the actual tool that's in the bottom of that slide hammer. Tighten it up into the bush, and then use the slide hammer, and out it comes. It looks a bit brutal, but it works, and there isn't actually any damage to the bush because it's sat just on the bottom. As you can see, that's the slide hammer getting unscrewed off. There's two nuts. The top nut you wind in using holding the spanner on the other one, which basically splays the bearing puller out. So basically you put that in and then you splay the bearing puller out and it holds it in place, and then you use the slide hammer to pull it out. And that was it. There was no way I could do that with the main bearing. There was nowhere to be able to grab it, hence the reason why I couldn't use it for that. So the last thing I wanted to do on this particular vlog is to put up a spreadsheet from information I got off the Norton Owners Club site to show you what the measurements need to be of everything that we've pulled apart basically. You'll see it coming up now. So you've got the cylinder bore size and everything else. It was all in inches on Norton Owners Club, which is right because it's a British bike. But I've put the millimeters in as well, just to help out. Just in case you're more familiar with millimeters, you need a really good vernier to measure with for all this. It has to be 3 or 4 decimal places. They're very expensive. I've got a 2 or 3 decimal place one which I can check some stuff, but the camshaft bearings and everything are going down to Andy to get manufactured. He's going to check those out for me anyway. And then you've got the bearings at the bottom, the main bearings, depending on where you buy them from, depends on which codes you're going to be using. But they are all 30B72 B19 millimeter. So there we go. That's the engine stripped down completely. I've posted the cam bushes and the cams off to my mate Andy, AR Parks Engineering, who are going to make some cam bushes for us. Don't forget again, you can get spare parts from the Norton Owners Club. Don't forget we have got the other GL1100 and the trike vlogs as well. I'm hoping to get back up to the container sometime this month. Just have to make sure that it's part of my work. So I'm allowed to do it in the lockdown. However, I've just got to make sure I'm up there in social distancing. It is on a farm, so there aren't many people up there. Hope you enjoy you've been enjoying these. Please subscribe and send any feedback as well. The next video for the Norton project will be I will get all the parts ordered. Hopefully Andy will be able to get these cam bushers made reasonably quickly. Start putting the engine back together, and we'll also start looking at the rest of the bike and see what we need to do with that as well. Quite exciting times, because it's, you know, going to be rebuilding an engine and bringing it back to life after so many years. Take care, ride safe, and be careful out there and keep warm. It's the middle of January at the moment, and it's below freezing here up here in the northwest of England. We'll talk soon.